session, we're going to talk about how to create a law school study schedule. So the best way to do this is to have a blank sheet of paper or an Excel document or whatever kind of app you use for a calendar. And it's best to kind of start by filling out a little template of what you plan on doing every day. And what I recommend students do is start just by filling in the times that you have class. Because you want to go to class every single day for law school. Okay, you don't want to miss any class. Class is so important for many reasons. So add those into your schedules because those are non-negotiable things that you want to include in your law school study schedule. Next, figure out when you wake up, when you go to bed, and when you want to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These are your breaks throughout the day, and obviously it's necessary to sleep in law school, so you're just being realistic about what your body needs. And you also want to make sure that you take special breaks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner rather than trying to multitask and study at the same time. Lastly, please incorporate exercise into this as well. Some students will try to not exercise in law school so they can study more, but honestly, exercise is so beneficial for you. It's beneficial for your mind. It helps you study better. It helps you focus. It helps you memorize. It helps you think more clearly. So don't skip out on exercise to try to study more. And the mock schedule that we have, the person exercises 5 days a week for about an hour. You could do 3 days a week for longer or whatever you're comfortable with. Anything is a start. I would just incorporate it right into your study schedule. And then you want to also make sure that you're incorporating things like commuting, any kind of regular things that you need to do on a weekly basis. And then lastly, you're going to have some time left, and this should be your study time. What I don't recommend that you do is study for 6 hours in a row without taking a break. Or even if you do put study for 6 hours in a row in a schedule, you should understand that you're going to be taking a break somewhere in there because your brain cannot focus for that long. So what this mock study schedule does is it breaks it up. For example, on Monday, the student studies for 2 hours, then eats dinner, and then studies for another 3 hours and relaxes and goes to sleep. That's kind of like a typical way that you might work. Study for a couple hour chunks in a row and take breaks in between rather than trying to study, 12 hours a day. Another important thing to note is that when you study on this general weekly schedule that you're creating, it's just going to say study because you're going to be doing different things every day. But in reality, it's important to also have a list of things that you're going to do during the study period. If you just say, okay, I'm going to go study, then you're not going to know where to start. You might be inefficient, or you might be spending your time in a way that's not the most effective. Like you might spend all of your time briefing cases, for example, which we typically don't recommend. So even though you're going to have this general schedule that tells you when you're going to study and when you'll be in class and things like that, you also want to make sure that you have a more specific list of what you're going to do when you sit down to study every day. And I found it helpful in law school to make this list at the beginning of every week. So I'd say, this is what I'm going to do Monday, this is what I'm going to do Tuesday, and that would help get me organized for the week, and it would make me really efficient and productive when I actually sat down to study, because it wasn't just like a vague, okay, I'm going to go study now. I actually had a list of things I wanted to accomplish. So I recommend that you do that as well. You might even incorporate time on Sunday, for example, in your schedule to literally come up with your list for the following week so that you can study effectively throughout the week. The other thing to note is that you might want to just take a full day off. Every single week in law school, I took a day off every single week. So every single Sunday, I did not study. Even if I had a final exam on Monday, Sunday was my off day. So I didn't study. I didn't get anything done, quote unquote. I slept in. I hung out with my family. I did things like that, but I didn't open my law school books. And I found that this really re-energized me for the week. And it made me more focused and efficient when I did study. Now, some law students don't have the luxury of taking a day off because of their circumstances, or it gives them too much anxiety to consider taking a day off in law school, which I understand. I would still incorporate a longer break into your schedule. Like, for example, on the mock schedule on Sundays, there's a big chunk of time that just says break. Nothing planned for that time, just do whatever you feel like doing. And that's a good thing to incorporate into your schedule because you will need it. And also it's going to help you avoid burnout and just help you be more efficient and focused when you do sit down to study.